there is a part of me that is still begging and pleading for someone in my family to fucking give a shit about me. Because they don't. They say they do. But they're so committed to to not making changes that would actually make them happy, because that would be introspective and scary and hard work. They've been basically brutalizing me and my honesty so they can stay lying to themselves. And like, that's sad, that's so sad, trauma, yada yada yada. The only person who really gets any slack for me on that though is my sister Julia, cuz like she's 17 months younger than me. So like I can't fault her what she was programmed to do, right? Like, I'm disappointed that she's not, realized by now what's going on and what her shit is, but she didn't realize she was a lesbian until she was 30, and I clocked it when she was 14. So, introspection isn't her strong suit. And I know that it would take some cataclysmic event for them to ever want to look inward at themselves, their lives, their choices, and their beliefs, and figure out if that's something that they even like. I know it's hung upside down. It's nailed to the wall, and I'm been procrastinating both flipping it and also repairing a tear in it. It's not supposed to be that way. I know. Anyways. My parents are the adults. They have been the adults for 25 and 27 years longer than me. So, the fact that my child self multiple times was pointing out their severe, like, inconsistencies, like the clear signs of a cognitive dissonance event happening, and the sheer rage and reactivity that I was always just made to face, forced, just screaming at me, was always over the fucking top, right? Like, I don't know why my father and my mother take everything out of my mouth as an attack, because it never has been, unless they attacked me first. That's the thing. But I remember being very young and just very quizzically asking, why are you being so mean right now? Or, Mom, why are your friends so shitty to you and make you cry? Why are you still friends with them? Or, like, Dad, you're not around a lot. I miss you. And instead of recognizing that I was communicating observations and needs, they decided that I was unnecessarily criticizing my elders. And you see, innately, family is a team, right? And while, children don't have the experience to fully understand what's going on around them, if there are inconsistencies, especially in a highly intelligent kid like I was, you got to explain them. You got to explain them. Because if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. It's not going to go well for you. And that is what happened with my parents. They didn't explain the things that they thought were too complex for my child mind to understand, and instead yelled and berated me about it, and then decided that was their response going forward for the next 20 years. So, I have very little forgiveness in my heart for that. Children are learning, and there are things that I am still learning at 34 fucking years old. That was apparently, like, early life skill shit, but because I was in, like 90% dissociated from, 99 all the way through, 2015. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. There's shit I missed because I was detached enough to survive and white knuckle my way through the abuse. And on top of that, I was repressing a lot of memories. And the problem with that is that my memories are very associative. They're very interconnected. So anything that would be connected to these memories I have would often be erased as well or put aside as well. One of those things was apparently my vocabulary, because I have noticed that my word choice and my speech language, my speech patterns has changed in the last few months. I believe that I sound like I did as a younger person, as like a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, really just the verbosity is through the roof. And instead of being embarrassed by it, like I have been my entire life, I am surrounded by people who are very much enjoy learning new words. And don't take it as an insult when I say one that they don't know. Because well, for one thing, like heads up, when I first meet anybody, I'm telling them, hey, I used to read the dictionary for fun when I was grounded, and I didn't have library privileges. So like I would see a cool word and be like, oh, hey, I want to work that into my vocabulary, and then I'd learn it. So that's how I learned lots of things like blasphemous or arrogant, or what was a big one that I whipped out when I was like in kindergarten? Opportunistic. That one. I remember Bert having a whole moment of me using a fucking like 3 or 4 syllable word when I'm a child, and like being so proud. Now this is the man that molested me, so we don't like him, but at the same time the good memories were there as well. And that is what fucking sucks, is that the good memories are right up next to the shitty ones. And the shittiness is so toxic, so dense, so overwhelming that it doesn't matter how many times my mother or father or sister had made me laugh or cheered me up, because I can assure you there have been tenfold more times where they were bringing me down because I said something that made them slightly uncomfortable with who they were as people. And I wasn't even trying to do that. I just have this like weird superpower of saying the quiet part out loud, and like completely on accident, thinking like, oh yeah, no, that's totally what we do in conversation, right? And I'm like, wait, no, that's not. But I still do that, and I'm more aware of it now than I was when I was younger, because I didn't realize that there were things that I was saying that are supposed to be unsaid, like just as a matter of course, or at least said in a lot more privacy than I was saying shit. But I still maintain that I was identifying problems or inconsistencies, and if my questioning it was inappropriate, I did not deserve getting smacked across the mouth, pushed against the wall and screamed at, threatened with a mental hospital when I bit my sister after my sister was not sharing the computer when it was my turn, and nobody was making her enforce it, and she always got extra time and extra turns because she's the little sister, and I'd be like, she's 17 months younger than me. We're developmentally at the same point. And I was right. And like, nah. And like, that's the thing that fucking kills me, is that me and my sister are too close in age for that big sister, little sister partnership to be a thing. We should have been partners in crime, almost like twins. But instead, we hate each other. And that's because of Hazel. And I really wish I wasn't the one in my family who was committed to honesty. Or at least not the only one. Because it doesn't even occur to me to lie. It doesn't, unless it is someone that I know well enough to be afraid of certain things being said to them, like my mother and my father. But, because you see, Hazel or Jeffrey could ask me about my love life. Let's say 5 years ago, they could ask me about my love life. And I would give them the barest bones information about it. But if, say, I don't know, a colleague at one of my jobs asked a question about my personal life, romance or whatnot, I would go into monologuing just fucking paragraph speech about the people that I care about. Like, at the time, it was my husband. And if I was still talking to them today, it'd be a whole lot of other stuff that I would want to share with a family that loved me. However, they don't, because they're so hypercritical of anything I do, because I don't care if it looks weird, because I only care if it makes me happy. And if it makes me happy, then let's fucking do it. Who gives a shit what other people say? And I'm actually really loudly living that in this moment in time. I am making choices in my life that I am very happy about, that would drive them nuts because they don't look good. But my life on paper doesn't look great. I'll be the first to cop to it. But that's only because the documentation's incomplete. I was silenced and suppressed, and my potential was not nurtured when it could have been really through the roof, right? And I'll grieve that forever. And my heart is broken about that, because it's not fair, right? It's not fair that I lost so much potential because I was in survival mode from like a ridiculously early time and almost full-time dissociated a few years after that. And it's really just, it's unfair. And I'm the first and the last and if no one's saying it, I'm dead. It's not fair. But at the same time, it's not like I'm dead. Yes, the neuroplasticity isn't that great anymore. Yes, I'm older, less flexible. There's been damage from neglect due to the medical neglect and that Hazel put me through because she couldn't be fucking bothered most of the time. Or she didn't want to admit that her children had different needs because she doesn't have retards. I think I didn't hear you say that to Helen on the phone one day, Hazel, because I remember it very well. Yeah. Let's see here. I think that was actually Forest Avenue, so like the Fort Meade housing that we were in for the longest time. Well, not really the longest time, but I have most of my good memories there. And that's the house where we lived when I told Mrs. Munt that mommy hits me too much and too hard. So, like, it wasn't like anywhere I lived was perfect. This is not the case. There is no one safe place in my life besides this house I'm sitting in right now. And that was hard won because, god damn it, have people tried to make this not a safe place. And I wouldn't fucking let them. I've kicked out roommates who were bringing discord. I've ended many relationships. Many. And Mike's not one of the ones that I ended because of a lack of peace. It's a incompatibility thing going from there. But all the other ones, yeah, I got rid of them because they were not keeping my home the way I needed it to be. And it's not like cleanliness, no. It's a volume control, a speaking to people kindly. It's a, your bad day isn't my fault, stop treating me like it is. But anyways, I'm just talking. I'm just denotating. I don't think that was the correct word used, but I just remembered I knew it. Denotate. The denotations. It's like the slang understanding of it. Or no, that's connotation, whereas a denotation is like the actual dictionary definition, I think. Maybe. Connotation's more like innuendo. Like, gigantic and humongous are synonyms, but you don't use them in the same context 100% of the time. You know? I know you know. That's a connotation. A very bad example of one, but that's what I was trying to say.